The hallway of the high school was unusually quiet that afternoon. Lockers lined the walls, their metal doors reflecting the late sunlight coming through the windows. Report cards had been handed out, and while laughter and excitement echoed from some corners, one student sat alone on a bench near the exit, staring at the floor. His name was Ethan. His results were poor, again. All through high school, the pattern had never changed. Low grades, disappointed looks, comments written in red ink, needs improvement, not applying himself, below average. Now, graduation was over, and reality had arrived with a heavy weight. Ethan watched classmates talk excitedly about college dorms, scholarships, and future plans. Some were already posting acceptance letters online. Others spoke confidently about universities they would soon attend. But Ethan had nothing to celebrate. No college admission, no clear direction, only a quiet fear he couldn't shake. "What's wrong with me?" he whispered under his breath. "Why am I always behind?" As he sat there, shoulders slumped, a calm voice called out to him. One of his teachers had noticed him sitting alone and approached quietly. "Come walk with me for a minute," the teacher said. They entered an empty classroom. The desks were neatly arranged, untouched now that the school year was over. The teacher didn't ask about grades. He didn't lecture. Instead, he poured water from a bottle into 2 paper cups and handed one to Ethan. "Tell me what's weighing on you," the teacher said. Ethan spoke honestly, about failing, about embarrassment, about watching everyone move forward while he felt stuck, about wanting more but not knowing how to reach it. When he finished, the teacher nodded gently. "Have you ever heard the story of the cracked pot?" the teacher asked. Ethan shook his head. The teacher leaned back against a desk and began. "Once, there was a water carrier who walked every day from a river back to his home, carrying water with 2 pots tied to a pole. One pot was perfect. It delivered water without losing a single drop. The other pot had a crack, and by the time the carrier returned home, it was only half full. For years, this continued. The perfect pot felt proud. The cracked pot felt ashamed. One day, the cracked pot finally spoke. "I'm sorry," it said. "Because of my crack, I fail at my purpose. You should replace me." The water carrier smiled and said, "Tomorrow, pay attention to the path we walk." Ethan leaned in slightly, listening closely. The next day, as they walked back from the river, the cracked pot noticed something it had never noticed before. Flowers. Bright, beautiful flowers growing along one side of the path. The water carrier said, "I planted flower seeds along this path. I always knew about your crack. Every day, the water you leaked watered those seeds. Because of you, there is beauty here. Because of you, something meaningful exists." The teacher paused and looked directly at Ethan. "You see," he said softly, "the world often measures worth by one standard, grades, scores, achievements, but that is not the only way purpose shows itself." Ethan frowned slightly. "But without good grades, what can I really do?" The teacher smiled. "That question assumes you have nothing else to offer." The teacher continued. "I've watched you over the years. When others give up, you stay behind to help classmates understand lessons even when you are struggling yourself. You notice broken things and fix them without being asked. You are patient. You show up consistently. Those are not weaknesses. Those are signs of problem-solving, responsibility, and persistence, qualities that don't always appear on report cards." The teacher paused, allowing the words to settle. "Education matters,
the teacher added calmly. But grades are not the only measure of intelligence. Life also needs builders, technicians, creators, organizers, and people who understand struggle because they have lived through it. Some people lead with books, others lead with hands, focus, and discipline. Ethan swallowed hard. "What if I keep failing?" he asked quietly. The teacher smiled gently. "Then you keep learning, just not in only one way." The cracked pot didn't stop being cracked. It simply understood how it was designed and allowed that design to be useful. That conversation stayed with Ethan. Instead of rushing into college and repeating the same struggle, Ethan chose a different path. He enrolled in a technical training program where learning was hands-on, practical, and rooted in real-world skills. For the first time, effort led to visible results. Working with tools, solving problems, and building things felt natural. Confidence slowly replaced doubt. Ethan learned by doing, not memorizing. He trained under experienced professionals, improved steadily, and developed skills people genuinely needed. Employers noticed reliability, focus, and patience, qualities that never showed up on report cards but mattered deeply in real life. What once felt like failure in a classroom became strength in the real world. Over time, Ethan built a life grounded in skill rather than grades. Respect replaced shame. Stability replaced fear. Pride replaced doubt, not because the cracks disappeared, but because they were finally understood. Years later, Ethan passed by his old high school. Along the sidewalk, flowers bloomed quietly, simple, bright, unnoticed by most. He stopped and smiled. For the first time, everything made sense. Not everyone is meant to be perfect, but everyone is meant to be useful. And sometimes, the very thing you believe is holding you back is the same thing shaping the purpose you were always meant to live.